Hello, and welcome to Replay Value. If you were to watch through Origairu in hopes of catching up prior to the third season that will begin airing in about a week, at least at the time of this recording, you might notice a weird quirk, let's say, between the first and second season. And I'm not talking about the art style shift. I've already talked at length about that, and the number of comments from people who didn't realize the design change unnerves me to this day. Instead, I'm talking about Season 2 opening with the final moments of the Culture Festival from Season 1, even though the last episode we had in Season 1 was the Athletic Festival. It's such a small thing in the grand scheme of a watch or a rewatch, but given that we're about to start a whole new season, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the same rationale used in the decision to focus on the Culture Festival with Season 2 doesn't get implemented in some way come Season 3, especially since the gap between airing dates is even larger now. The decision to flash back to the rooftop discussion with Hayama allows for a slight retroactive change to better align with the story that Season 2 tells. Whereas the actual ending point for Season 1 in the Athletic Festival is basically the opposite of all the things that the Cultural Festival moment enforces. Let me be clear, I love the Athletic Festival. It is my favorite lighthearted episode in the entire series. It hits all the right notes of the character relationships, both within our principal trio and their larger network. Zymokuza and Ebina, the dynamic duo you never knew you wanted until that moment with the cavalry battle designs. Who doesn't love Saber, Yui, and Yukino? Hachiman's plan within a plan that seems like it worked at first up until they get disqualified, which seems to me like some foreshadowing for a certain confession arc where everything's okay up until Hachiman loses everything and Hayama benefits directly in both cases. Those are some pretty sweet parallels we got going on. But really, for me, the main draw of the episode is seeing our three main characters getting along so swimmingly without any of the relationship and romantic drama that inherently accompanies all of those moments in the second season after the second episode. It is beautiful on rewatch because Hachiman, Yui, and Yukino's little trio has great chemistry. And here it's on full display instead of being overshadowed by the not-so-subtle waifu war. Oh, and Zymokusa proves definitively, in my opinion, that he really has no place in the second season of the show here. Watch this, and imagine this happening anywhere in Season 2. And in my opinion, this is peak Zymokuza. His use in the second season is so minimal because he does not fit the realistic tone and shift in the comedic style. This contrast is exactly why the second season had to start. Not with the Athletic Festival as the most recent element in the timeline, but with the dramatic Culture Festival. Of course, it also served to remind the audience about where we last saw these characters if you watched it live back in 2013 and then picked Zoku up in 2015, but let's take a look at exactly what that flashback achieves in the context of the second season compared to the Athletic Festival. The Cultural Festival flashback crosscuts between the rooftop where Hayama physically confronts Hachiman and the inside where the girls are rocking out. I cannot help but think that Studio Feel wanted to flex on Brain's base when it came to these moments. The rock concert is so much more energetic and exciting, probably in part because it's shorter. The cross-cutting to place these moments as happening simultaneously as opposed to Season 1's, which happened one after another, creates a larger dichotomy between the two scenes, and in fact makes the confrontation even more powerful. That last point can also be attributed to better direction in how Hayama's shove is faster through the sequence and the collision is better represented. I also can't help but wonder if the fact that this is a re-adaptation of that Season 1 moment with the new art style contributed at all to that minority of people not realizing the shift between seasons. But anyway, those first few points are the micro things that indicate where some of Season 2's strengths are. Like, the editing here is great, but the major structural difference between starting here and leaving us in the aftermath of the Athletic Festival is that it reinforces that Hachiman views himself as alone. The final shot in this sequence where he says that nobody got hurt is counter to what we know to be true from Season 1 and visually isolates him from Yui and Yukino. Season 1 didn't really struggle with that. This shot of him watching on from the dark really encapsulates that same isolation, but the Season 2 version makes him a little bit more indignant about the pain. He revels in that isolation a bit, as opposed to the wishing he could be with them stare that this shot gives off. The flashback is a clear reminder that this is a Hachiman who acts on his own, and unlike the Athletic Festival where he was very clearly part of a team, both Macro, the red team, and Micro, his small group, this is very far away from that. The The Athletic Festival also indicated that no one was holding too much of a grudge because of the events on this rooftop. With this sequence serving as a bit of a retroactive wipe, the plot point of Hachiman being even more isolated from his class requires less explanation. It's obviously apparent. The Athletic Festival was a great capstone to the first season, and it's still relevant in Season 2, but given where Season 2 goes, serving as a rebuke to Hachiman's belief system regarding how he handles moments like the rooftop scene, the Culture Festival is arguably the most important moment to re-establish perfectly in line with how it will be thematically developed. So, what can we expect from Season 3? If it were to begin with a flashback, what was the most important moment from Season 2 that would have to be picked up on? The safe bet is the final moment of the second season with the other prevented confession scene, but Yukino's Help Me Someday is my personal pick. Because the major narrative character arc that still has to be picked up that is relevant to the entire cast is hers. Honestly, there's a glut of options from the second season because I imagine Season 3 will be closer in tone to Zoku than Zoku was to the first season. And at the rate that the story has been building on previous events, it feels like practically anything could be central to the thematic development of the story, but hey, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Or you read the light novels and you're doing me a solid by not spoiling anything here without tagging it. See you with some more analysis of Oregairu, both old and new, real soon.